is going to be an exciting year. As you referenced, 2022 was a learning year for us. Many first-time opponents, new travel, new stadiums, new coaches we were going against, all of those things. And, the thing that we learned in it is, and I think we knew this going in, is it's an extremely competitive conference from top to bottom. Every single week during that 3 hours on the field, you've got to play your absolute best to have a chance of winning. And the other thing is that a team's records don't matter. A team can come in and they've only got one win, or a team can come in and they've got 7 wins. And it doesn't matter. It's all about what happens that day on the field. But I think we learned that, number one, we can compete, and we were competitive in almost every game last year. I think we also saw what our strengths are, and we found out where some areas we need to improve. So I think, as you said, it was a learning year for us. We came up a little short in some areas, but we are really excited about 2023. But, he's a guy that he makes us go on offense. He's got big play potential. He's got outstanding speed. And anytime he touches the ball, there's a really good chance that something good is going to happen. So it's really important that we find creative ways to get him the ball, whether it's handing it to him, throwing it to him, whatever we're going to do, because he's a key part of our offense here. And he's one of the reasons that our offense was so successful and so highly ranked in 2022. I mean, I think off the field, he's a leader, but in a quiet way. He's not the most vocal guy, even when you see him in the locker room or see him on campus, but he's a guy that commands the respect of everybody on our team and everybody in our locker room. They know and understand and see that the work that he puts in every single day, and there's no wonder on anybody's part why he has had the success that he's had. Size, strength. As we got into the Big South many years ago, it became very apparent early on that we needed to be faster. And we spent a lot of time improving our team speed in all positions. And by the time we left the Big South, I would say we were arguably the fastest team in the league. Maybe us and maybe one other team were up there. As we entered the CAA, it became very apparent that we were fast enough to play in the CAA. As a matter of fact, we may have been faster than a lot of teams in the conference. We didn't have the size, particularly in the front 7 on defense. And that's where you see the size differential, where in the Big South, you could play with maybe a 260-pound defensive lineman. In the CAA, they better be 290, or you're going to have some trouble. And so I think we got worn down in the defensive front a little bit last year, but that's something that we've addressed aggressively through recruiting and through this offseason. And I think we'll be tremendously improved as we head into 23. Each and every week is a high-level opponent. And I think what we learned is that, we saw ourselves get worn down a little bit in some spots. And as I was referencing the defensive front 7 a little while ago, you've got to have more depth. You've got to have more size. You've got to be able to withstand that type of physical play week after week after week. That's something that we addressed during this past winter and spring. I think we're much improved in those areas. I know we're much improved in those areas. And, really looking forward to see how it all plays out on the field this fall. The expectations are much higher because, as you said, we have improved. The one thing that 2022 demonstrated was it showed us where we need to become better. Maybe where we need to become better coaches, where we need to have better personnel, maybe a combination of those two things. And I think as a credit to our coaching staff, we addressed those throughout the winter, throughout the spring, even into the early parts of the summer. And I think we're going to be much better positioned for success as we enter this fall than we were last year. I mean, there was great competition throughout spring practice. I think both of them had some really, really good days and where they were better than the other guy. So it's the type of competition, honestly, that you'd like to have at every position. But being that it's the quarterback position and that's the leader of your offense and the guy that rallies everybody, that rallies the troops on that side of the ball, I think we really need to make a decision sooner rather than later. So that the rest of the guys become comfortable playing with that guy, become comfortable with that guy in the huddle. During spring practice, they split the reps almost 50-50, where one day one guy would be with the first group and then they would alternate by periods or by practice. So I think we're going to probably go through the first maybe 7 or 8 days and see what happens and hopefully make the decision no later than the end of week 2.
Not at first, but as the season went on, I just knew I was ready each week to go. And I'm really happy with last season, and what I have in store in this upcoming season is really to capitalize and try to take it to a whole nother level. It's not going to be easy, but I'm ready for it, and I just been working on my whole game being more complete, running, catching, and just seeking everything that I need to do to be successful.
Just like you said, I was, grateful to be a part of the two Big South championships, earlier on in my career here. And, I just think being one of the last guys who've, played on those teams and have that experience, I just know what it took to get those. I understood, the team we had and the chemistry we had and, the product that we put out in the field, each and every week. To win that championship. And, I know we're in a new conference, and it's, different competition. And as Coach Kyle was mentioning, bigger and better competition. But, I still think that we have that, formula to win those games. And, I still think on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, with the new addition that Coach Kyle was talking about before, on both sides of the ball, I think we have, the players and the coaching staff to get us back to that level. I think it's important once you get back to camp on August 1st to, get right back to that, that culture that we had those, first two seasons. And, I think we could be right back in that same race as we were. One of the first times, where my season was cut short like that. So it was definitely a new experience for me. And it was, tough having to sit at home for a few weeks, having to watch the guys on TV, while I was back at home, while I'm used to being right there next to them. But, I'm back, I'm as healthy as I've ever been. I feel as good as I've ever been. I participated all spring ball and, it was good. It felt good. Everything was fine and I'm ready to go. So, I'm back again going into another camp. Feeling healthy. Even my injury last year is, that's, feeling 100% now. Just overall, my body's feeling good. So, I'm excited. And like Jaden was saying, just with the team we have and the guys around us, I think we're, poised for a good year this year. So I'm definitely excited for that.